The unmistakable sound of a rifle's crack echoed across the shooting range at Coronado Naval Base. But Chief Petty Officer Marcus Hawthorne wasn't startled by the sound. No, it was what he saw through his spotting scope that left him breathless. A single bullet had torn through 3 separate targets at an impossible distance of 1,000 yards. And not just any ordinary shot, it was a series of perfectly aligned holes, each one seemingly etched by a laser. Hawthorne's mouth fell open, his mind struggling to process what he was witnessing. His gaze slowly turned toward the shooter, a young woman, casual, unassuming, dressed in plain civilian clothes. As she calmly ejected the spent casing, her right hand wrapped in medical tape, she didn't even seem to notice the monumental feat she had just pulled off. Something most of the Navy's elite snipers could only dream of achieving. 2 hours earlier, before the morning fog had even lifted from the California coastline, Isabelle "Izzy" Moro had arrived at the range. At 29, she moved with a quiet, practiced efficiency, as if she had learned how to blend into her surroundings. Her sandy blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her faded gray hoodie and worn jeans made her blend in seamlessly. But there was one thing about her that was impossible to ignore: the white bandage wrapping her right hand, the same hand she carried with visible care, as if it held a secret. Izzy had been coming here for 3 months now, showing up exactly 45 minutes before the official opening of the range. A special arrangement with the facility manager gave her access during off hours. The paperwork said she was under a medical rehabilitation program, but it didn't say much else. Some people assumed she'd been a support staff member, perhaps a mechanic or a communication specialist who had been injured. She never bothered correcting them. For Izzy, the range was a sanctuary, a place where she could escape the tremors in her hand, a place where the nightmares that followed her like shadows couldn't reach her. Her routine was simple: arrive early, clean her rifle with her left hand while her right hand remained still, and then practice her breathing exercises. That morning, however, would prove different. The arrival of SEAL Team 7 changed everything. The black Suburbans rolled up just after 7 a.m. They exuded a controlled energy that electrified the atmosphere. These were no ordinary soldiers, they were elite operators. Leading them was Lieutenant Jake Sullivan, a man whose rigid posture and permanent scowl spoke volumes about his mindset. His team unloaded their gear with practiced ease rifles, ammunition, spotting scopes, and a heavy dose of arrogance. One of the team members, Petty Officer Ramon Diaz, spotted Izzy at the far end of the range. "Civvies on deck," he muttered. "Why do they let tourists play soldier on military property?" Sullivan's eyes swept over her dismissively, noting her bandaged hand and the way she flinched when a heavy ammunition box was dropped nearby. "Probably some dependent living out her warrior fantasy while her husband's deployed," he scoffed. But Chief Petty Officer Hawthorne, older and far more perceptive, noticed something the others didn't. Izzy wasn't just any civilian. Her rifle was a highly customized precision weapon, the kind of gear that only the most serious marksmen used. Even the way she organized her equipment was meticulous, a clear indication that she knew exactly what she was doing. Izzy continued with her routine while the SEALs began their training. But the insults kept coming, casual and thoughtless. "Is she even aware of which end of the rifle goes downrange?" someone asked, their laughter cutting through the air. She heard every word but said nothing. She'd learned long ago that silence was her best response. Meanwhile, the SEALs were warming up, and their leader, Sullivan, was eager to show off his skills. He fired with deadly accuracy, sending bullet after bullet into the bullseye, barely breaking a sweat. It was their routine, a little friendly competition, a reminder of who they were. But Izzy wasn't fazed. She'd seen this kind of arrogance before. She loaded a single round into her rifle, slowly and carefully, then took her first shot. The impact was immediate, a perfect hit at 500 yards. The SEALs, who had been mocking her moments ago, fell silent. One by one she fired. Each shot was perfect. Every time she pulled the trigger, the bullet found its mark, despite the unconventional stances she adopted. Her right hand trembled, but the tremor didn't stop her. It didn't matter. She was in control. And then, the moment that would change everything. Master Chief Benjamin Cross, the senior advisor for Naval Special Warfare Group 1, arrived. With him came an unsettling shift in the atmosphere. Cross was a seasoned operator, someone who had seen it all. His eyes flicked over Izzy, his experience immediately recognizing something about her. He had seen shooters like her before, but there was something about her that unsettled him. "Who's the civilian?" Cross asked the range officer, his voice low. "Isabelle Moro. She's been coming here for 12 weeks now. No problems, just a shooter," the officer replied. "How good is she?" Cross pressed. The officer paused. "Hard to say. She only shoots at maximum range. When she hits, the groups are tight, but she takes forever between shots." Izzy's reputation had preceded her. Sullivan, sensing an opportunity to humble the tourist, challenged Izzy to a friendly competition. His arrogance never allowed him to back down. Izzy, however, wasn't interested in his wager. "I appreciate the offer, but I'm just following my physical therapy routine." Cross, sensing where this was headed, intervened. "Leave her to her training, Lieutenant." But Izzy's expression had shifted. Her jaw tightened, and when she spoke, there was a new edge to her voice. "What kind of challenge?" she asked. Sullivan smirked. 5 shots at 800 yards. Closest group wins. Loser buys coffee for the whole team." Izzy didn't hesitate. "We shoot at 1,000 yards. The SEALs laughed, dismissing her as naive, but Izzy wasn't joking. And as they prepared for the competition, Izzy did something that caught everyone off guard. Instead of setting up for a traditional prone position, she placed 3 targets in a line each spaced exactly 2 feet apart. "What are you doing?" Sullivan asked. "1 shot, 3 targets, all or nothing," she said calmly. The SEALs erupted in disbelief. No one had ever attempted such a thing at 1,000 yards. The physical impossibility of it was clear to everyone until Izzy took her position. Her breathing slowed. Her hand, still trembling, seemed to disappear in the intensity of the moment. The shot rang out. The first target was struck dead center. The second, perfect. And then, against all odds, the third target. The bullet punched through all 3, each hole perfectly aligned. The silence was deafening. The SEALs stood frozen, their earlier mockery evaporating. No one spoke for a long while. Sullivan, who had been so confident just moments ago, whispered in disbelief, "No way." Master Chief Cross stepped forward. "Phantom 7, he said quietly, and with those 2 words, the air seemed to shift. Izzy's composure cracked. The rifle slipped from her hands as her right hand began to shake violently. She collapsed to her knees, her face contorted in pain. Tears, long held back, finally fell. "I'm nobody," she whispered. "Phantom 7 died in Syria. I'm just what's left." In that moment, the SEALs, who had once looked down on her, saw her for what she truly was, one of their own, a warrior who had paid the ultimate price. And as Izzy recounted her story, the SEALs listened in stunned silence, realizing that they were in the presence of someone whose skill and sacrifice went beyond anything they could imagine. What happened in Syria was more than a mission gone wrong. It was a perfect shot turned tragic. Izzy's hands trembled, not because of fear, but because of the weight of a past that would never let her go. The 6 names she carried in her heart, the 6 names she had failed to protect, would haunt her forever. But when the SEALs, who had once mocked her, looked at her with respect, she knew that she had finally found something that had eluded her for years: acceptance. The next morning, Izzy faced the sniper who had been hunting her team. Dmitri Vulov, also known as Viper, had killed 3 CIA assets, and now he had a target: Admiral Torres. But Izzy wasn't just going to sit back. She took the shot that would save lives. And in that moment, she proved something to herself, to the world, that no matter how hard the fight, no matter how broken her body might be, the Phantom unit would never truly die.